Hello, welcome to the Male Mogul podcast. I'm your host, the founder of the Male Mogul Initiative, Walter Mendenhall, along with my co-host, Dr. D.T. Shackelford, who will not be here today, but will be on next episode. The Male Mogul podcast seeks to discuss topics that possibly transform the way people live and lead in their communities. And this will be a podcast that will be on a monthly basis.
All right, Walter. Very good.
Yep.
So I'm sitting in for DT today, and I have a few questions for Walter that he's going to answer. Just talking a little bit more about purpose and why he started the Male Mogul Initiative. So for the first question, Walter, I have, how do you define purpose and why is it important?
How do I define purpose? I just think the first thing is that everybody is here for a reason. So I think life should be led with intent and lived with intent. And I think a lot of times, a lot of people just kind of go through the motions. Just, we're supposed to go to school, then we're supposed to graduate, go to college, get a job, get a house, do these things. And I think going through life sometimes and you're just doing everything that everybody else tells you you're supposed to do, there's kind of this empty feeling and something that, is missing in life. And a lot of times we try to fill that with money. Sometimes we try to fill that with pleasures or vacations or food or whatever it is. But describing just purpose and why purpose is important, I think it gives us an intent to live, a passion, a joy to get up in the morning and to um, do what you feel that you're called to do. And I just think purpose and how I would define purpose is something that you were put on this earth to do and the mission that you had to accomplish in this life that you were meant to do.
All right. I like that. And I feel that because I feel like when I wasn't working for myself, it's like I should always be doing something different, right? Something that like brings me a lot of joy all the time, and then I'm helping people. So I definitely understand that. My next question is, what is your purpose, and how did you discover it?
Yeah, man. It was a process, but I just, I actually put it into a mission purpose statement, and it's to inspire a generation to help reach their potential and to make the impossible possible in their lives. And how I got there, it's been a long journey. I
Hmm.
think if I were just to go first, it's just to kind of start with my childhood and growing up. I had some disadvantages.
Okay.
So I grew up in a household, single parent household. Brother, sister, and sometimes a cousin or two cousins living with us in a 2-bedroom apartment.
Hmm.
At the age of 5, was diagnosed with a learning disability and was in special education classes and I had an IEP, all the way up into 8th grade and just really, didn't grow up with a lot, but just in spite of those things, I was able to graduate and actually test out of special education, was able to, graduate high school with on the honor roll and a scholarship to play football at the University of Illinois. There, was able to go to the NFL and was able to accomplish a lot of things. Whether it's getting my master's degree, currently working on my PhD, um, being able to just mentor and do all these things, and how I got here it's been a journey.
Okay.
I think initially you know, my passion was sports.
Yep.
And,
I feel that.
I thought, I was going to be this, whether it was this star basketball player, this star football player. And once I got into college, things, politics, a whole bunch of things
Hmm.
happen. And you really can't control, what the coaches, who the coaches playing, who the coaches don't play, whether you feel that you're deserving or not. And I just remember just one night, man, just being real depressed because all my, I guess, self worth and affirmation and was in sports. And when sports wasn't going right in my life, especially as a young person,
Mhm.
I would, nothing would go right. My school, relationships, all these things would just kind of go because football was a idol to me.
Uh-huh.
It's something that I held, above anything, family, friends, God, all these things.
Right.
And I just remember just being so depressed one day. I remember laying in my bed and I was contemplating, whether I was going to commit suicide or not.
Mm.
And I just remember just lying in my bed crying and just kind of crying out, just like, God, if you really real, I need to know right now because I don't know if I'm going to make it, to see the next day.
Right.
And I just felt just a presence come into my room and, just like console me like you would console a baby and had the most peaceful sleep I ever had in my life.
Wow.
And when I woke up that day, even though my situation didn't change, my attitude and perspective about it changed. And, at that time when I was in college, maybe 21, 22 years old, I realized I was here for a bigger purpose than just to play football.
Mhm.
And that kind of just started me on, my journey to finding what my true purpose was. At that time, really didn't, know. All I knew was, sports. But what I had was that, I'm just going to do the best that I can, and let the chips fall where they may. And, I'm just going to be the best person I can be, on and off the field and continue to develop myself. And, yeah, man, that just kind of just took me on a journey, man, and ended up transferring schools. Uh, starting my last 4 games of my 5th year, ended up doing pretty good. Was able to be in the NFL, and was playing for a few teams. I played for the Eagles, got cut. Played for the Colts. Really thought I was going to make that team. Ended up getting cut, and played for the Bills for a little bit, and then I was with the Bengals, and I just remember playing with the Bengals, having the best camp I ever had. Um, the coach coming up to me afterwards saying that I had a great chance to make the team,
Mhm.
and I remember just driving back to Chicago for a quick break, and they told me to hand my playbook in,
Mm.
and I'm kind of just like, man, I just keep getting the short end of the stick. I just feel that things are just not fair, and I remember just driving and I just heard a voice say, greater things than this that I have for you to do.
Mm.
And that was in 2010. And, 11 years later, just being able to accomplish all that I've been able to accomplish, um, whether that is, my wife, my son that just was born, being able to influence, hundreds of young men put them on a positive direction, the formation of the Male Mogul Initiative, all these things, just, and so much more. And, through those obstacles and things of that sort, I was just able to find, what I was truly passionate about.
Right.
And if you can tell me today, like, you can go back to the NFL and make millions of dollars or continue to do what you do now, I would definitely choose what I'm doing now.
Nah, that's an awesome that's an awesome story. Thank you for sharing a lot of, I think, things to be taken away from that story, from perseverance to suicide to your faith to overcoming. So, um, lots of good information, a great story. So, thank you again for sharing. What were some of the obstacles that could have stopped you from discovering your purpose?
Most definitely, man. I just think, the first thing I would say is comfort and money.
Mm.
I remember, after I was done playing football, just actually got into teaching, and I was kind of on this fast track to be a high school football coach, teacher. Make 6 figures and just just chill really and just kind of coast. But each day I was there, I just felt like, man, it's something bigger. Like I need to, it's something more. It's something more. And I'm just like, man, I don't want to leave this comfortability knowing that I could be here the next 30 years and, make this certain amount of money and be cool.
Mhm.
Um, I felt God was kind of just taking me to the less traveled path, to the unknown.
Okay.
And I ended up actually leaving that position, and I was kind of just trying to figure it out. And this eventually, I kind of went back, got my master's degree, and started teaching, doing some adjunct work as a professor,
Mhm.
sociology, and in African American studies. So just teaching and just really trying to figure out what is it that God has for me to do. And eventually went into non for profit, where I was working with the agency on the West Side. And I was actually at a career day one day, and I met a young man, great young man, uh, played basketball, honor roll student,
Mhm.
and just very well respected in his school. But he sold drugs in order to get the things that he wanted.
Right.
And after that conversation, I just kind of just sat there and thought, like, man, how many young men in this city, on this side of town, just nationwide, have the gifts and abilities to be successful entrepreneurs, but not necessarily the the access and opportunities and exposure. And that actually kind of led me to the formation of the Male Mogul Initiative.
Okay.
And I would say the obstacles is just comfortability is just one.
Mhm.
Um, just
Money.
knowing, yeah, money, just knowing where your money's gonna come from, where your next checks is gonna come from. And, sometimes, as as an entrepreneur, and you just recently, kind of taking that risk, and like,
Yeah.
there's something more for me.
Right.
And I just think, you do what you feel led to do, and you have a plan in place. And I think you're doing it for the right reasons, all these things, you're gonna be good.
Right. No, I definitely agree. And that comfort thing, leaping out on faith is tough, but it's like you said, when it's something that is for you and there's a higher purpose in it, then it's just for you and you'll succeed. So my next question, how can someone who does not know what their purpose is find it?
Yeah, man, that's a great question. Um, I think just following what kind of my path, and only I can just speak on my experiences. I think it's kind of a three-part equation. I think the first one is passion,
Hmm.
understanding what you're passionate about, understanding what is it that you would do that it wouldn't you could do it all day, you wouldn't get paid, and you would still have joy doing it.
Hmm.
So I think it's personally just kind of finding what your passions are. I think the second part of that is a problem. What is the problem that you want to solve?
Right.
And there's so many problems in the world, and I think a lot of people get exhausted trying to fight every problem. And I just think, man, what is the one problem that you want to solve? And then from there, I would say, what are your gifts and what are your skill sets?
Right.
And I think when you put all those three together, that's where you can begin to find your purpose.
Okay.
And I know for my life, the first thing, what I was passionate about at first, I was really passionate about sports. I was really passionate about competing.
Hmm.
I was really passionate about competition. And, through that passion, I was able to develop my gifts of motivating people,
Hmm.
of, how to effectively lead a team of people or a group of people, how an organization or a team effectively runs, emotional intelligence. So these were all the skills that I was able to develop while being in sports. And the problem that I wanted to solve, it was like, I was seeing a lot of young men as I was a teacher kind of falling by the wayside, young men that looked like me.
Right.
And a lot of these young men I saw myself in, and I saw that they were academically unmotivated. I saw that, um, they weren't achieving to the best of their potential, and they were just kind of living life, below average.
Right.
And I was just wanted to do something where I could motivate them. I could inspire them. I could help them solve some of those problems that they were experiencing, in their household or in their environment. And just brought them all these three things together. And it didn't, and it basically came out to the Male Mogul Initiative.
Okay.
And yeah, so that's kind of how I was able to kind of discover my purpose and that kind of that three-part equation. What is your passion? What problem you want to solve? And what are the gifts, talents, and skills you can use to solve that problem?
That's awesome. And I also think that crosses over to entrepreneurship. Just those three things. Just you can put those together and give a service that people like and enjoy, then you're good. My last question to wrap it up. Does your purpose change as you get older?
I don't think it changes. I think it evolves. I think for, just taking my own life and just example, it started as, a football player, then it evolved to a teacher and a coach of sports. Then from there, it was a facilitator for entrepreneurship. And it is constantly evolving. My life is constantly evolving. The purpose is constantly evolving. Right now, we are in the midst of, servicing more adults. We are hooking up with, just great people to provide resources, to our community to help possibly transform them and help it to inspire people to reach their potential. So, I don't think your purpose changes as you get older, but it constantly evolves
Okay.
and it's constantly evolving.
Okay. And so to wrap it up, what else what do you want people to take away from this podcast as a whole, this monthly podcast as a whole?
I just want them just kind of just, this is one of these podcasts. It's not going to be maybe an hour or 2 hours long. It's just kind of, efficient, straight to the point information that they can apply to their lives
Mhm.
in a drive from here to the store or just, as you laying down at night and you have those 20 minutes before you go to sleep, just some things that you can apply. To your life, some principles, some insights that can be immediately applicable. And I hope you guys continue to stay tuned. And thank you for listening.
Thank you. Have a good day. All good.